So 2.4 Arjuna Uvacha Kadam Bhishmam Aham Sankhye Dronam Cha Madhusudana Ishubhihi Pratiyotsyami Pujarha Arisudana. Text 5 Gurun ahatva hi mahanubhavan shreyo bhoktum bhaikyamapi haloke hatvardha kamam stu guruni haiva bhunjiya bhogan rudhira pradigdhan. So Arjuna continues his arguments here, similar arguments as he gave in the first chapter. He's saying here Katham Bhishmam. So now Arjuna in the first chapter he did not have he did not hear Krishna's urging him to fight, but now he has heard Krishna's urging him to fight. In the previous two verses, Krishna expressed his displeasure in Arjuna taking a back seat. So Krishna has urged Arjuna to fight. So in response to that, Arjuna is again giving his arguments. Maybe Krishna didn't hear me properly, let me again put it in front of him. Now he says, Katham, how Bhishmam, my dear grandfather, or this our grandsire Bhishma Deva, how in the battle Sankhye as well as Dronam, my teacher Drona, O Madhusudana, how can I kill these people? Kadam Bhishmam aham Sankhye Dronam cha. Bhishmam cha Dronam cha aham Sankhye, in the battlefield, how can I kill them? Ishubhihi pratiyotsyami, with arrows. How can I pratiyotsyami? How can I counterattack? They are pujarha, they are worthy of my respect and not my arrows. And he is calling Madhusudana and Arisudana. Of course, Madhusudana is to remove his doubt. And why he is calling Arisudana? Krishna is being addressed as Arisudana because Krishna is famous for killing his enemies. And Krishna never killed his own kinsman. So Arjuna is asking Krishna, you yourself have never killed your own kinsman. You always kill your Ari or enemies. But how logical it is, how reasonable it is to ask me to kill my own kinsman. Isn't it illogical? So please tell me. So that is the point Arjuna is trying to make here. So Prabhupada mentions in the purport that it is general etiquette that superiors are not to be offered even a verbal fight. Even if they are sometimes harsh in behavior, they should not be harshly treated. Then how is it possible for Arjuna to counterattack them? So that is the, in general, dharmic moral instruction. So in general, we should follow this instruction. So when we deal with our superiors or even parents, elderly people, or even authorities in temple or elsewhere, so usually what happens, our instincts will trigger. If somebody says something, our immediate mode of passion and mode of ignorance comes forward. They drive us instead of we driving them. So we immediately react with something if something is inappropriately, we think is inappropriately said to us. And our instincts take over our consciousness, our free will, our ability to discriminate. So that's the difference between a person in mode of goodness and even in mode of pure goodness and a person in mode of passion and ignorance. So a person in mode of passion and ignorance is driven, triggered by these modes. He doesn't discriminate whether to act or not act. Whereas mode of goodness, even though these modes are being triggered, he knows that he can choose to act or not choose to act. choose to respond or not choose to respond. Very measured response he will give. One time a sage was asked to define what is anger, and he gave a very good answer. He said, how you define anger is, it is basically a punishment we give to ourselves for someone else's mistakes. It's a punishment we give to ourselves for someone else's mistake, which is true. So we don't have to become overcome by anger, which will agitate our whole existence, our body, and our behavior. But the difference between a pure devotee and a normal person is the pure devotee does not come under the wrath of these modes and chooses to act appropriately. Oh, the person is a superior. Now I should, even though this modes, the lower modes are tempting me to act like this, I should control myself. So these instructions are given in the scriptures, in the purports, to help us develop this kind of intelligence, develop higher modes, develop the sense of discrimination. So that will help us. And unfortunately, the modern culture, um, there is no such education. There is no values. Everyone is artificially brought on the same platform. But our Vedic culture, what it teaches is developing humility and a sense of accepting an authority, accepting superior. Why is it needed? Why is it needed to respect superiors, respect authorities, become humble? Is to cure our disease. The very reason why we are in this world is because we rebelled against the supremacy of Krishna. We wanted to be superior. We wanted our own word to rule the spiritual planet, Goloka Vrindavan or Vaikuntha. So therefore Krishna gives us opportunity to come here. Okay, you become superior there. You try to become superior. So by voluntarily accepting someone else as superior and developing humility and surrender and subordinate mood, we again regain our spiritual health. It is very much needed. All these practices which are prescribed in our Vedic culture are towards reforming our polluted consciousness. That's why these are important. And Arjuna is displaying all this. He is not just acting based on passion and modes of passion and ignorance, but he is carefully considering, even though he is missing a point, which we will see in the next verse, 2.5, where he says, Guru Nahatva, by killing these great generals and people who are as good as my gurus, Mahanubhavan, it is like Shreyo Bhoktum Bhaikshyam. It is better than doing this. Shreyaha for me is Bhoktum Bhaikshyam api haloke. To enjoy at the cost of the lives of these great gurus and Mahanubhavas is to better live by begging. Bhaikshyam, to go and begging. And Hatvardha kamamstu guru nihaiva bhunjiya bhogan rudhira pradigdhan. Even though they may be avaricious. Avaricious means they acted in a way not suitable, not befitting their personality, in antagonistic ways, in ways which are detrimental for the peace and prosperity. But still they are my superiors, and if I kill them and enjoy things, everything will be tainted with blood. But Prabhupada brings out the actual point in the purport where he says, according to scriptural codes, a teacher who engages in an abominable action and has lost his sense of discrimination is fit to be abandoned. Is fit to be abandoned. So that is the overcoming principle. So if there is a consideration that the superior, the principle that superior should be respected, the authority should be respected. But if there is also a consideration that they engage in an abominable action and has lost their sense of discrimination, they are fit to be abandoned. So that is the higher principle Arjuna needed to invoke here. And moreover, he is under the guidance of the supreme authority, Krishna, who is himself asking him to override that principle. So there needed be no confusion for Arjuna. But unfortunately, Arjuna was sticking to his earlier principle. So actually, Kshatriya, he needs some kingdom to rule. That is why the fight actually began. Krishna actually pleaded at least one village for each of these um, Kshatriyas, each of these Pandavas to rule. But Duryodhana didn't give even a land which can hold one pin. So that's how the fight began. But now Arjuna is settling for begging, which they were not willing to do because a Kshatriya cannot resort to begging. But now Arjuna is coming back to that. So that is another thing which is of contrary to prescribed duties. So these are the points here. One is Kshatriya cannot be begging, and if there is an overcoming rule to neglect the superiors at the behest of a bona fide authority, one can do that. And we all know the famous example of how Bali Maharaj neglected the superiority of his own guru, Shukracharya. Bali Maharaj actually became very indebted to Shukracharya, and he accepted him as his spiritual master when he saved his life. Shukracharya actually brings Bali Maharaj back to life after being defeated in the great battle between the demigods and the demons, where Bali Maharaj leads the demons' army, and he is almost killed, practically killed. But because of the mystic power of Shukracharya, he brings many of these demons back to life, whose body is still in a good shape. So they become indebted to Shukracharya, and Bali Maharaj also carefully follows his instructions. And he is a powerful Brahmana, and obviously a Brahmana also teaches from scriptures. So he would be teaching that the Vishnu is the supreme personality of Godhead, and pleasing him is the ultimate goal. But Shukracharya is not a pure devotee of the Lord, so he still has his own motives, material motives, which is to maintain himself and his superiority as the leader or the spiritual master of these demons. So when Vaman Deva came, so Shukracharya was still holding on to his materialistic mentality. Oh, he may be Vishnu, but if he gives everything to him, what will there be for me? So he started bringing out his materialistic mentality. But then Bali Maharaj, he has heard proper instructions, and he was blessed by the mercy of his grandfather Prahlad Maharaj. And then immediately his intimate love for the Lord came out, his pure devotional ecstasy came out, and it prevailed over the materialistic tendency of Shukracharya. And so Bali Maharaj could override his own superior because of the mercy of Prahlad Maharaj and the mercy of the Lord. And so this is a lesson where one can override their so-called superiors and take to Krishna consciousness. Sometimes we get confusion when our own parents or caretakers or elders, they pass comments and they uh, you know try to put roadblocks in our progress in Krishna consciousness, or they preach against Krishna consciousness. Then obviously we should ignore their superiority, ignore their orders, because anything which is against Vishnu or the order of Vishnu is not to be considered, even if it is like as big as Shukracharya or as big as our own superiors. Of course, that doesn't mean that we should go on a war against them, but we should note that we should not heed to their words, because anything against the words of Krishna or Vishnu should not be given importance. That should be the guiding principle for us in determining when to follow the superior and when to not follow the superior, but still maintaining proper respect and honor. Even in the case of Sanatan Goswami, it's a very nice incident. Sanatan Goswami was engaged as a minister under the regime of Nawab in the 16th century, when the Muslim government was prominent in various parts of India. So in Bengal, he was one of the right hands of this king, and practically he was running the whole kingdom. And so he would be, but he is by heart, in the heart, he is pure devotee of the Lord. So by the time he would have already met Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and he would be very eager to give up his service and go and join as a mendicant under Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Rupa Goswami would have already met Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and he would be hankering to go. And in the pretext of becoming sick, he would always stay at home and he would just be reading Srimad Bhagavatam along with other devotees. So the king becomes disturbed. He is taking so many sick leaves and not caring for the government. I used to be practically idle and everything would be taken care by this Shakar Malik. Shakar Malik was the adopted name of Sanatan Goswami. He was acting as the minister. He practically became a Muslim, even though he was born in a Saraswat Brahmin family. So suddenly he decides to check on Sanatan Goswami. What happens? What's happening? Why is he so sick? And then he finds that Sanatan Goswami is actually very healthy. He is just relishing Srimad Bhagavatam in the company of devotees. And then he becomes furious. What are you doing? You're deceiving me. And I'm going to punish you. And Sanatan Goswami says, yes, you are king, means you are representative of Krishna. You can do whatever you want. You are my superior. And Sanatan Goswami accepts the punishment. So he is put behind the bars in the prison house. And but Sanatan Goswami always in the heart, he wants to surrender to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And then he would be thinking how I can engage. And then by the Lord's will, he gets a letter from Rupa Goswami where Rupa Goswami is giving him a hint how to escape. So Rupa Goswami, with very tactical, with his shrewd tactics, he composes a verse, very interesting verse, and puts it in the letter. And he says that I have 10,000 gold coins with me. I have saved with a local merchant. You can use that money and get out of the prison. And then he writes a mysterious verse in Sanskrit, which only Sanatan Goswami would understand, where he says, Yadupate kwa gata madhurapuri, raghupate kwa gatottara koshala, iti vichintya kurusva manasthiram, nasad idam jagad iti avadharaya. So the import of that verse is, Yadupati, Krishna, is the name of Krishna, and Raghupati is the name of Ramachandra. And long ago they appeared on earth, playing as their part as human beings. And now they appeared again as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to entice mankind from the prison of material life in this temporary universe and take them back to them. So that means indicating that he should get rid of this prison, escape from the prison. So that was understood by Sanatan Goswami, and he was willing to um, override his own superior, the Nawab, at the order of Rupa Goswami and at the request of, at the um, desire of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And so, and he also gives the indication in that verse where he says Lord Chaitanya was currently on his way to Mathura, followed by Rupa Goswami. Second, let me mute. Okay. So, demute. Okay. Yeah, so Sanatan Goswami gets the hint from Rupa Goswami that he can escape, and then he takes that advice, and then now he has the task of how to escape. Now he has this Muslim jail keeper, so he calls him and says, you are such a nice person, you know the imports of all religious scriptures, you know Quran so well. So if you help me, I'm a saintly person. I will I will not go anywhere. I will become a mendicant. Nobody will know that I have escaped. I will give you 5,000 gold coins. Just imagine 5,000 gold coins. And so here you will see a pure devotee bribing. So somebody may raise the question, how can a pure devotee bribe? So just like Arjuna is saying here, how can I kill my superiors? So everything can be done if it is the desire of the Lord. It is the order of a pure devotee. So Sanatan Goswami offers him that bribe. I don't want to call it a bribe because it has a lot of negative connotation, but he offers that money. And then still he is thinking, the jail keeper. And then Sanatan Goswami says, no, 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 you just tell them that I've gone to attend nature call, and with my, this, what is that? I'm still bound by these chains, but I'm, doing nature calls, and suddenly I jumped into Ganges, and with the chains, with the iron chains, and then I could not swim, and I drowned, and I died. And anyway, after that, I'll anyway become mendicant, and nobody will know me whether I existed or not. So you'll be getting the money, and you will be going to heavenly planets for doing this good deed to a great saintly person. And then still he is hesitating, and then now he ups the price. He says, I'll give you 7,000 gold coins. And somehow he agrees for that proposal, and he gets him out. And then he goes out in all kinds of um, you know paths, through the forest, through side paths, through backdoor entries. So many ways he takes his servant Ishana with him. And what he also does is he keeps these $3,000, 3,000 gold coins with somebody else, so that he won't get robbed and killed on the path. And but this servant Ishana, without the knowledge of Sanatan Goswami, he brings 8 gold coins with him, becoming over smart. And then on the way, they reside in a hotel, um, asking directions to go to Varanasi and all that. And this hotel man, he somehow finds out that these people have gold. He employs an astrologer to find that these people have gold. And then he would be devising ways to kill these 2 people and take those gold coins. But somehow Sanatan Goswami is a diplomat. He has been in the ministerial position for so long. He knows how to, he knows the psychology of other person. He finds out that this person is out to kill him. And then he finds out from his servant that he's brought gold coins without his knowledge. And then somehow they give that gold back to him. And then he escapes from that place. And again, somehow or other, he reaches, it's a long story, but somehow or other, Sanatan Goswami reaches Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Varanasi. So that is what Sanatan Goswami also did. So when there is order of the superior, when there is the order of the bona fide personality, one can take the call of ignoring one's superior. So I'll stop here. Any other questions, comments on what we discussed today?